I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with the cattle market summary for the week ending September the 7th, where if you listened to me in the last feeder flash visit at the end of the week, we hadn't seen a whole lot of fat cattle trade. It started coming in just a pinch lower and it looking like we might have to give in, but the board really settled down on Thursday. It didn't do hardly anything, just give and take just maybe a nickel or 10 or 15 cents several months down the line, and really quiet there. And I told you guys that if the board come out on Friday and was some higher or strong, that your fat cattle trade would be steady to a pinch higher. And if the board come out on Friday and it was cheaper, then it'd be steady to a little cheaper. And I'll be dang if I wasn't right. So I've been right once, but I know most of you guys say, well, any idiot could do that. And it didn't have to be this idiot to do it. And I realize that you could have flagged a car down anywhere and they could have told you what was going to happen on Friday, and that's exactly what happened. Let's look at the board through the week there on October live cattle futures. Of course, Monday was Labor Day and everything was shut down. Tuesday come out strong, up $1.10. Wednesday was down 82 cents. Thursday down 15, and Friday up $1.05. With October live cattle futures ending the week at 109.95, nearly $1.10, where your fat cattle trade ought to be, but sure not. But up $1.18 for the week. And it's interesting to note that we're no longer working with a basis right now. To have a basis to help these hedged cattle feeders out, your spot month on your board has to be lower than what your cash fat cattle trade is. Well, it's not. It's $2 higher. So on top of losing money probably on a lot of these fat cattle, they're losing money on their hedges too, because you know, they were betting on the board to go down to cover themselves being long in the cash market. But December live cattle futures up 70 cents on late in the week there at 114.42. That was $1.45 higher for the week. October feeder cattle, Monday closed, Tuesday up $2.70, Wednesday down 35, Thursday up a nickel, and Friday up $1.42 with a strong showing on feeder cattle futures on down the line. But October ended the week at 152.95, up $3.83 for the week. September's our spot month, but very little activity going on in it. But it's right there at the same level. People just tend to trade that October more, but September's within 2 cents of it at 152.97, up $3.52 for the week. Now your fat cattle trade, through Thursday they had only sold 12,600 head, and we were thinking that the packers would come in a little quicker than that because they had kind of a light trade, if you remember the week before. But then they picked around and was trying to get some cattle bought, but of course they wanted to buy them cheaper. 12,600 head, your weighted average on live steers through Thursday on those, and it was mostly all in Iowa and Nebraska, was 107.89, and your dress steer weighted average on that light run through Thursday was 169.57. And so we were just kind of waiting. The guys really didn't want to take $1.07 for all the cattle. And with that stronger showing on the board, and they waited until the board closed before they really put the widespread bids out there, of mostly a dollar higher, but $1.08 traded the cattle. I mean, from one end of the 5 areas to the other and all around the edges. And that would be steady to mostly $1 higher, because you know, it's kind of hard to set the market on that northern plains because they trade around a lot, but the southern plains was mostly all $1.07 the previous week and $1.08 this week. Now your dress trade was just steady at 170, and as of what I saw through late Friday, didn't see as much dress trade as you normally do, and that would be up there in the northern plains, and I'm sure they'll clean it up pretty good, and we'll see what happens when we start out the week next week to see how much volume there was. But just kind of a steady go there on your dress trade. Box beef cutout values, your average trade for the week last week, quite a bit lower. Choice cuts, the average trade last week was 209.13, down $2.90. and a lot of people are thinking that is really going to fall off here over the next several weeks, and it may go down as far as $200, and that means your packers may not be making but $100 or $150 a head, and that would be horrible because they've been making $300 here, and some people saying as much as $400 on some of them. But you know, I'm glad somebody's making some money. Select cuts $199.51 on the average of last week, down $3.72. Your choice select spread is now at $9.62. And the reason that we're holding things together as good as we are, as we're getting through the last soupy pit, if you guys ever watch the mud bogs, of the worst of the market ready supplies. We just give us another week or two and we're going to be up out of them. There may be some spots here and there. There's still got several, but there's other spots that's going to have a lot less, and it's going to be able to pull things around and get this market turned around the corner and start heading north again. But your exports have been so good. How good have they been? Year to date, beef exports up 15% year to date. That's gigantic. Your slaughter, of course, it's hard to measure it on a holiday week, but compared to a year ago, we were down just 2,000 compared to the holiday week a year ago, so that's not too bad. Holding up there pretty good, and they will get things rolling again next week because, or this week here, because they're making big money, and you wonder how they can be so patient with things. You'd think that they would just be running those things day and night, but they're disciplined because they know they're going to make that money, and they can just kind of drag things out and keep making that money. You know, we were talking up there at the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. If it was a farmer or rancher making that kind of money, they'd be building on and running day and night, putting in extra lights, hiring more help, doing whatever they could, and they'd greedy and get it all at once, and then within just a few weeks they'd be back to where they had hardly no margin again. But that's just what they're used to. But you look at your feeder cattle markets, and the big story really on your feeder cattle markets was all the rain that they got in the center part of the country, in Kansas and Nebraska. Big rains, maybe 6 or 8 inches at a time, just running water everywhere. And you know, maybe not in the epicenter of the drought in northwest Missouri and surrounding areas there, but around the edges of that drought, I think a lot of it is probably going to be erased with the last rains that we got here this past week. It was just fantastic, but had light runs and a lot of your big sales because of that. El Reno, OKC West had kind of a light run because it was wet around. Dodge City, Kansas had a light run. Salina had a light run, but all in that country was just running water. But let's look at some of your markets. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central late in the week at 151.10, staying right in time with your CME. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was 151.04, so I'd say that's pretty darn tight. And we're in some of the same sales, not in some of the same sales. We're in some sales they're not in, they're in some sales we're not in. We'd like to be in every sale we can. If you guys have an automated computerized clerk system, we can tie into it. You know, I'll tell you how easy it is. Up there in Billings, U.S. Cattlemen's Association, Justin Tupper runs St. Ange, South Dakota sale barn there. Told him, said, man, we'd really like to tie into your sale. And he says, fine with me, do it. He said, in fact, I'm supposed to get a federal state market reporter this week because he had a big sale coming in. I haven't had one of those in years. So what we had to do was send one email and make one phone call, tie up those numbers together in the clouds, and we're pulling down that data. What Federal State Market Service had to do is they had to dole out taxpayer dollars to hire a reporter to come in, give him mileage or get him a car or do something, and come in there and sit down and watch that sale all day. But it was great. We tied into St. Ange, South Dakota. We're so happy to have them. It's going to hold our real-time index up there better because of those big prices they get up there in that South Dakota country. We stabilized some more sales. Crawford, Nebraska, we were having a little bit of trouble there, but Sale Time Systems helped us out, just like ViewTrack computerized clerk system helped us out at St. On's. And guys, if you have a sale, and I know a lot of you guys have got sales or run them that are watching these, just give us a call, or give me a call, or get a hold of us some way. It's not going to hurt you. We're not trying to steal anything from you. We just want to show what the cattle are bringing. And if you are embarrassed of what your market is, you've got bigger problems. But your cash feeder cattle market for last week, after we got through the Labor Day holiday Monday, so we didn't have any of our high volume sales on Monday, and then Tuesday they were kind of slow to get going, but by the middle of the week, Wednesday, we had some good runs and steady to $3 higher, pretty much even in the southeast on light calves. On the last of the yearlings, these yearlings are running out, guys. They're planting a lot of wheat down there in the southern plains. It's going to be up here within just a few weeks, and then the guys are going to tie into those calves. They're going to sop a lot of them up. We've got good times ahead for the market. Look at a few individual quotes. Bloomington, Wisconsin, where they had the World Champion Livestock Auctioneer contest back early in the summer. They have good sales there all the time. Sold 66 head of 816-pound steers at $161.75. $10 over the index. Crawford, Nebraska, 56 head of steers weighed 882 at 153. And then here, Justin Tupper at St. On's, South Dakota. The first time we've quoted them on Cattle Market Central, and they're scrolling right up here on the National Beef Wire screen, and Justin's going to have one of these National Beef Wire screens in his sale barn here just whenever we can get somebody up there to put it in for him, free of charge. But 185 head of steers in St. On's weighed 946 at 149.50. That's a look at your week's markets from Home DV Auction Office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.